Genesis chapter 7. The day came when Yahweh said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and your entire household, for I have found you to be the only one righteous in my eyes in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of all the clean animals, both male and female, and 1 pair of all the unclean animals, both male and female. Take 7 pairs of flying birds of all kinds, male and female, to make sure they survive on the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain and flood the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. Every living thing that I made, I will wipe off the face of the earth." Noah obeyed all that Yahweh had commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the great flood came on the earth. Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives boarded the ark to escape the flood. 2 of each animal, the male and female, clean and unclean, large and small, along with birds and crawling things, entered the ark with Noah as God had commanded. Then 7 days later, massive floodwaters covered the earth. It started in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, in the 17th day. On that day, all the fountains of the subterranean deep cracked open and burst up through the ground. Heaven's floodgates were opened, and heavy rains fell on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day, Noah and his wife, their sons Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and their wives entered safely into the ark. Pairs of every species of animal entered with them, wild animals, domesticated animals, large and small, and every species of bird and winged creatures. Every animal that has the breath of life came into the ark with Noah. Both male and female went inside as God had commanded Noah, and Yahweh himself shut them in. For 40 days the flood engulfed the earth. The swelling floodwaters lifted up the ark until it rose high above the ground. The raging flood completely inundated the earth, but the ark floated safely, drifting upon the surface of the water, until the highest mountains were completely submerged beneath the rising waters. The waters rose over 22 feet above the highest mountains. Every living thing on the earth perished. Domesticated animals, wild animals, birds, everything that moved on the earth, and all mankind perished. Everything perished. Every animal on earth with the breath of life in its nostrils died. All life on earth was blotted out. All that he had made, animals large and small, wild and domesticated, birds and reptiles, including humanity, was wiped off the face of the earth. Only Noah was left behind, and those who were in the ark with him. And the waters covered the earth for 150 days. Chapter 8. God's heart was moved with compassion as he remembered Noah and all the animals, large and small, that were with him in the ark. And God caused a wind to sweep across the earth again, and the waters subsided. He closed the subterranean fountains and the floodgates of heaven and held back the rain. After 150 days, the flood waters gradually receded from the earth, and the waters began to subside. And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the highest peak in Ararat. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month. And on the first day of the 10th month, all the mountain tops appeared. After 40 more days, Noah opened the window he had made in the ark and released a raven. It flew back and forth from the ark until the earth was dry. Then he sent out a dove to see if the waters had receded from the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place to rest, so it returned to Noah in the ark, because the the waters still covered the face of the earth. Noah put out his hand and grasped the dove and put it back into the ark. He waited another 7 days and released the dove from the ark again. Before evening, the dove came back to him. And there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah realized that the waters had finally subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days and sent the dove out again. But this time it did not return to him in the ark. In Noah's 601st year, on the first day of the first month, the waters were dried up from the earth. Noah lifted the hatch, looked out, and saw the dry ground. On the 27th day of the second month, the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife, your sons, their wives. Release all the animals with you and set them free, birds, animals large and small, every living thing. And they will multiply and abound and flourish on the earth and in the sky." So Noah and his family left the ark, and every animal large and small, every bird and crawling thing came out of the ark by families. God's promise to Noah. Noah erected an altar and dedicated it to Yahweh. Then he selected ritually clean animals and birds of every species and offered them as burnt sacrifices on the altar. And when Yahweh smelled the sweet fragrance of Noah's offerings, his heart was stirred. And he said, "Never again will I curse the earth because of people, even though the imagination of their hearts are evil from their childhood. Nor will I ever again destroy every living creature as I have done. I promise this: as long as earth exists, there will always be seasons of planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night." Chapter 9. God's covenant with Noah. God lovingly blessed Noah and all his family and said to them, "Reproduce, be fruitful and populate the earth. I will cause every living creature of earth, sky and sea, to fear and dread you from this time forward. They are now under your authority. You may now eat the meat of animals, as well as green animals. I now give you everything for food for you. However, you must not eat meat with its lifeblood still in it, for its life is in the blood. If anyone takes another person's life, I will demand an account, whether from man or beast. I will demand an account for taking a human life. Whoever sheds human blood by other humans, he must have his own blood shed. For to kill a person is to kill one made in God's own beautiful image. Now all of you, with my blessing, reproduce, be fruitful, and repopulate the earth." When God said to Noah and his family, Then God said to Noah and his family, "I establish my loving covenant with you, your descendants, and every living creature that is with you, animals, large and small, birds, and every living thing that came out of the ark. I will maintain my loving covenant with you. I will never again completely destroy life on earth by means of a flood. Yes, never again will a flood destroy the whole earth." The rainbow. Here is the sign for you and future generations that my loving covenant will endure between me and you and every animal that came with you out of the ark. I have placed my rainbow among the clouds, and it will be a sign of my loving covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant with you and with every living thing upon the earth. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy life from the earth. When the rainbow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant I made with you and every living thing of every kind upon the earth. So God said to Noah, the rainbow is my signature in the sky, my seal of love to confirm that I have kept my covenant between me and every living thing on earth. Noah's sons. Noah's sons came out of the ark with him, Shem, Ham, the father of Canaan, and Japheth. From these three sons of Noah, the entire world was repopulated. Noah, a farmer, was the first to plant a vineyard. He drank so much of the wine that he got drunk and passed out naked inside his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, went into the tent and gazed on him shamefully, exposed his father. Then he went out and informed his brothers. So Shem and Japheth took their father's cloak and walked backwards with the cloak on their shoulders into the tent to cover up their naked father. Respectfully, they turned their faces away so as not to see their father laying there exposed. When Noah sobered up and realized what his youngest son had done to him, he uttered these words, "Cursed be your son, Canaan, and let him be the lowest of servants to his brothers." He also said, "Worthy of praise is Yahweh, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be Shem's slave. May God enlarge Japheth's family and increase his territory. May he share in the blessing of Shem, and his descendants make their homes among the tents of Shem. And may Canaan be his slave also." After the flood, Noah lived another 350 years. Noah's entire lifetime was 950 years, and then he died.